Hey, everybody. Welcome to What's the Story? And we got our backbone back. How about that? Susie and the Whiskey Dogs. Susie Husner. She is awesome. And we used to play that music as our intro all the time, and we finally got it back. So there you go.
Love it.
Welcome to What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermson. That's Ed Knoll and Doug Ashby. And we are here to
all get
here.
Our backbones back. Right? Best I know, we need our backbones back.
We do. And we thank Susie for her music. She's awesome. And Light Black Productions, who produces that music for her. And so, yeah, it's great. It's great. Welcome, everybody. It's going to be a good day today, right?
It's September. September. It has to be good. Football started.
We have always had good days.
Yes.
Just some better than others.
And welcome back after 2 weeks of vacation, Ed. That was something.
I like this.
We knew you were going to be gone a week, but you didn't tell us about the second week. That was interesting.
Well, the
we were worried.
The thing about it is you told us about 1 week. We were halfway into the second week in the program and realized you weren't here.
I figured you'd be done first.
Doug. What can you say?
It was so awesome driving across the Americana, though, driving to Colorado, doing some backcountry camping and, seeing American flags on posts.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's an interesting time to be just popping into freeways, popping into gas stations, talking to people and the environment.
Yeah.
Right. With the election coming up and folks scurrying about. Anyway, it felt good. Good.
All right. Well, as I said, this is What's the Story? And I want to mention I want to mention, first of all, we'll talk about our word of the day. And if you don't get my posts, I'd like to hope that you'll subscribe to my Substack.
We're going to pull a switch off a tree and beat you with it.
Well, I don't know about that. But our topic today is presidential agendas and proposals, finding solutions. And this picture, I sometimes will do something like this where I put up a picture and it relates to our word of the day. This one definitely relates to our word of the day. And I asked if anybody knew what, maybe could make a wild guess. And we had Susie actually jumped in and she said, well, maybe, because I said the word is not stop, obviously. And she jumped in and said, well, maybe octagon. But that's not the word of the day. So you guys want to share what the word of the day is?
I was going to say, if you take a look at it and just spell stop backwards, you got pots.
Yeah, it's true. It could be pots, right? But it's not. So what's our word of the day, Ed?
And if you took a letter off of there, it'd be top. And another letter would be stove.
The word of the day.
And if you look at the two letters in the middle, it'd be two.
Oxymoron.
Oxymoron. Why in the world would the stop sign be an oxymoron? We ask.
I don't know, but the oxymoron sounds like a young person with like acne.
Well, because it's contradictory, right? It's a contradictory message.
So things that are opposite, ironic, that oxymoronic, right? They're simpatico. I like it. I like those combination of words showing opposites and you are who you're not.
Yeah. So one of the definitions is a figure of speech in which two words with opposing meanings are used together intentionally for effect. Boy, that print is tiny.
I was going to say, and I know in my dictionary, the definition of pointedly foolish is a direct translation of the, I think it's Greek.
Oh, okay.
oxymoron.
Okay. The first, the term was first.
He's going to jump right into the synonyms, right?
Oh,
Is that where you're going?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Okay, here they are.
Okay. Go. That's not true. I printed out a sheet for you that
And
has a lot of, there they are. A lot of synonyms, which of course you read through and you did what Ed usually does and said, no. But there is one on there.
Yeah.
Ironic. Ironic is a good one.
How about paradox? That's two docs, right?
No, I think that's pretty good.
That
Paradox
might
is pretty good.
What
Yeah.
I did find, because I went to 2 or 3 different sites that I use for to try to find a synonym, and none of them came up with it. So, but what it did lend to was it said, here are 10 examples of oxymoron, and I thought,
okay,
that's kind of
nice.
a
little bit
First
better,
one
right?
they give, this is another fine mess you've gotten me into. That's a good one. I like that.
Hmm.
There is a real love-hate relationship developing between the two of us.
How is that? That's
I don't
not
know
an
about that
oxymoron.
one. And the first one's questionable.
What do you mean?
the second one's terrible.
Well, right, but they're
That's
just giving you the option choice. They're
okay.
not
How about
saying.
this? Suddenly the room was filled with deafening silence.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Deafening silence is an
The
oxymoron.
comedian was seriously funny.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's an oxymoron.
You
for
are
sure.
clearly confused by the situation you have found yourself in. You know what? That's poor grammar too, because if you read that, you are clearly confused by the situation that you have found yourself. You don't need.
You don't need the.
Okay. Her singing was enough to raise the living dead. Oh boy, she must have been a great singer. Has to be our favorite. The politicians gave his deceptively honest opinion.
Well, I just want you to know I'm trying to post the show to the LaRue book club, of which I made the book club, and it isn't letting me post it. So there you go. Another time where they're not letting me share. It's weird. It's just weird. Right?
We need.
I mean, why not?
We need to reach out to our liberal counterparts that do shows and liberal and see if they get the whack too.
Yeah, they probably do for certain
right.
things.
I mean, best I know,
guessing.
we could all get the whack for our stellar information, and we can call that an oxymoron.
Very possibly. Depends on the day, right?
Okay.
Anyway, that's our word. Oh, go ahead.
Heavy lightness is serious vanity. They were pushing for that one.
I think so.
Feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire, and sick health. Yeah, that's
sick health is that's interesting. I don't understand that.
That's our current healthcare system,
which you are a part at times.
A distant part.
Distant part, yes, but you are a part.
Okay, and it says it was first. The term was first recorded in Latinized Greek as oxymoron around the 5th century. That's a long time ago.
So Steve says the sign was green, meaning go.
Yeah.
Right, but it said stop. It's an oxymoron. Get it? Get it?
Well, here is something, and we will get to it a little bit later, but now is a perfect time to interject.
Hold on, because
This is a tease.
All right, you can do a tease, but we got to talk about this stuff.
I would say the oxymoron on the stop sign is unique.
I think so.
One of the agendas today is presidential agendas and proposals, finding solutions.
Right.
So I searched that, and I came up with a site that's called procon.org.
Oh, procon.org. I gotcha.
That's an oxymoron.
It's an oxymoron too. Yes,
So,
perfect.
Yeah.
fit right in.
But it's not that. So in politics, oxymoron fits everywhere, right? It's not that hard.
But
The moron part. Oh,
one of the
did I
things
say
It
that
is.
out loud?
It totally is.
Again, if you read about oxymoron, one of the things it'll say is you really shouldn't use that in relationships to people.
Why?
Well, I don't know.
Because you think they're calling him a moron? They have to understand what the word means before
Yeah.
they get offended.
Well,
Right?
first of all, the root word of moron, that's not too good to call somebody and you have to
So,
find
right,
one.
it's just like anything else. When someone is it, they need to be called it. Right? I mean,
Well,
it'll hopefully stop them from
I don't know.
doing so in the past.
I don't know if this is a good place for me to go at this point since you're talking about what you are. However, I have to ask the question, is Biden still our president?
Is that an oxymoron?
I don't know. I'm asking that question because for 3 weeks now, I've had this story and just ran out of time. Haven't been able to talk about it. And this is when President Biden was in Las Vegas. And sources say that he suffered a neurological event before leaving Las Vegas. I actually went to a website, and I don't remember the name of it now, but it had a lot of the audio from the emergency services. And I wish you knew some folks in Las
Yeah.
Vegas because
Yeah.
you might be able to get the inside scoop.
Yeah.
But the emergency services were calling for him to be transported to the hospital because he'd had a neurological event. And I listened to probably a half hour or more of that. And then they finally diverted him and sent him to, I guess, Washington, D.C. or wherever. I don't know if that was true, but I know that he didn't go to any of the facilities in Las Vegas. So my question is real. Is Biden still our president? If he suffered a neurological event, why don't we know about it? Why isn't the media questioning? If this is not true,
Janice, this should be, and let's put it in different context. If this were Trump, they would play that for a full 10 days. I mean, there would be no
right.
end to
And
it.
I realize he's not running for the next 4 years, but he's in office right now. And where is he?
He is the president.
Right.
Wouldn't
That's my
that be
point.
the number one news story?
One would think.
Then how about this? Again, for oxymoron, the President Biden went cuckoo, and they say, well, that's not news.
Well, I don't think he's cuckoo. He's just slow and right.
Well, we think he has dementia.
We can do that kind of thing.
Dementia or
to me,
Alzheimer's or something.
So to me, the Democrats, based on the fact of, Biden stepping down, unprecedented, no primary, no voting.
Right.
They have political bosses making choices on the left. I mean, right? No one's voted for any of their candidates.
Shouldn't that be?
And I believe that Biden has slipped through the last couple of years, likely with challenges. He's been sheltered. They're still sheltering him. And I don't know if it's Joe Biden making decisions, but somewhat Hunter, who knows, someone else, maybe his aides, are making choices for him. Is not.
Shouldn't it be the vice president?
Well,
obviously not. Obviously not.
Obviously
not in this situation, or they don't think so.
Because it doesn't fit their agenda, so you're not going to hear about it.
So just so you know, Steve says that he's more oxy. So if you're going to call him anything, call him oxy.
I think we could have a debate on that.
That's only because you know him.
Well, right. The truth is, right, here we are, right? I mean, while we're here, I want to get into just briefly note that so the left again, right? The Inflation Reduction Act, the Clean Water Act, they are oxymoron bills
That's right.
to
That's
what
very
they
true.
actually do. And everything they say they do, they have the opposite.
Right.
So it's the same with Kamala Harris and her price reduction this or price
Right.
reduction that.
Well,
Oxymorons, every one of them.
well, so much so you could say that her person, is an oxymoron because what she says and what she's done are two different things.
Well, and here's the other thing, and we're going to get into the actual policies that both Trump and Harris have at least presented somewhat. And the thing is, she's in office now. I mean, she's saying I can do this, I can do that.
Yep.
And I realize she's vice
It's-
president, but we don't even know if Biden's still the president. So she has a lot of power right now. And she's saying she's going to do things, but she's not doing them now.
That's part of the playbook.
I mean, she could prove
Jackie Rosen.
herself.
Jackie Rosen is the Democratic playbook.
Yes.
Right. And that is, hey, I'm for lowering house prices.
Right. Do it now.
Doing all these things. I've been here 4 years in the bottom of a casino, sleeping during COVID, but I still want your vote for all these things I wanted to do.
Right.
And didn't do.
you-
She should be out on her ear. She's had her time. Get her on.
You just slipped in another oxymoron, lowering high prices.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I said in politics, it's inevitable.
Right. So who are we seeing when we see President Biden? Are we seeing a double? We know they all have some double at different times. So are we seeing a double? Is that what that is? I'd really like to know. This is a serious question. I'm not, we're talking about presidential agendas, but we do have a president right now, I think. And I'd like to know what he's doing and why we're not hearing about his
Can I-
neurological event. And is he okay? Right? I mean, that's a legitimate question.
Can I throw a rhetorical question out there? Because I honestly don't know if there is an answer to it. Let's hypothecate for a second and say that our President Biden, did have some type of neurological malady come upon him where he wasn't able to do, and they hid it. Is that an impeachable offense?
Well, can you impeach him for something he didn't have control?
Right. And,
over?
and hold
He
it.
did- No, he had control over the fact that nobody came forward with it. They were denying it all.
But we don't know what that neurological
And
event
best
was
of-
and where is he now?
Also,
Isn't this-
it is
wait a
not
second.
accepted.
Isn't this
Old age is not a malady.
Isn't this ironic that our illustrious news media is turning their backs on maybe the story of the century?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You want
it
to
is.
watch them shake, rattle, and roll. If President Trump wins, they're going to have a gutting because they made a mistake. They didn't catch this Biden thing. This Kamala Harris thing is a Hail Mary because they had no other choices. They weren't planned and organized. If they lose, their party leaders will have a lot of questions because they clearly weren't prepared except for this current popularity contest, which I think is dissipating.
This morning.
Well, it may not even be real because we know that the polls are always skewed. We know that they sometimes favor one party over another. And I'm thinking that's on both sides. I don't think that's just one side.
Did you
that
hear
does
what
that.
the press calls it now? They're like, well, President Trump does his under polls. So what they say he under polls, that he does about 4 points better than what the polls say. That would mean that's the bias built in by the national media.
Right.
It's about 4 points. So best I can tell, Trump's up one.
Well, and let's face it, she was very unpopular. She couldn't even get into Iowa when she ran for president. She had to leave before they even got to Iowa. So it's obvious. And in the 4 years or almost 4 years that she's been vice president, nobody liked her. I mean, they all said that. Her staff was leaving.
This morning when I did, I try to sit down for a couple of hours and go over all of the hot news items. this morning was the first time that I've ever seen it. And my email is with AOL. So when I look at all the news bulletins that they have, it's all produced by AOL. I wish I could change that because it's very, very liberal content.
You could change your email.
Well,
But it,
do you realize how hard that
I
would
know.
be?
but
I know.
it
But
really
wait a second,
doesn't.
wait a
It
second,
really
let me-
doesn't matter.
let me
Any
finish
news
this.
outlet is liberal.
Let me finish. You should have been here because we did one whole show on that. What
You should have been there.
This morning was the first morning that I actually saw more negative news about Kamala than I did about Trump.
That's
so that
interesting.
has been a real turning point.
We got this month. We got this time before the election where she's through the love fest, and now it's fact-finding time. And I think she's going to continue to fall pretty consistently.
But see, one of the things that, again, when we did this 2 weeks ago, the show, what we found is that the polls, if you poll somebody that's liberal, they say, what are the honest news stations? And they always come up with ABC, NBC, CBS. So the liberals say, no, these are great. Well, how about Fox News and Fox Business? Oh, no, they're terrible. Now I go to the other side of the aisle and you poll a conservative, you say, who is the best? They say Fox News. Who is the worst? ABC. It's just the opposite. So the bottom line is you would have to meld these two.
No, you don't meld. There's all kinds of room for independent thought, independent news in the space in between.
All
What
right.
I was saying
On
is
that
you
note-
have to meld these philosophies between
That's
the left.
collusion. That's communism, right?
Well,
We're
but-
free thought.
He throws up his hands. He's done with that. All right, let's talk about the agendas and the proposals and all of that our presidential candidates currently are proposing
on
and
this special
agendizing.
48-hour edition of What's the Story.
It'd have to be with you guys. So what is Agenda 47? And I want to mention in doing this that the Heritage Foundation put out a different proposal, and
Other than the 2025?
2025, that was it.
Yeah.
So they put out the proposal for 2025, Project 2025, I think
We
is what
were
they
at
called
the
it, right?
we were at that
we
event.
were at that event. That is not sponsored by Trump. That was sponsored by the Heritage Foundation. I will say, having been at an event where they presented this, it sounded like it was something that Trump wanted to have done. From the way that they presented, it wasn't that they said that. It was the assumption that you made by the way that things were presented. It had nothing to do with anybody saying Trump supports this. He didn't.
My understanding of this, so folks, so you're running in an election, whatever it is, and you win. What now?
Right.
I
go ahead.
think the Heritage Foundation created what the job is, right? I mean,
Well, they
what
were
the work
right. The
is.
people that would be supporting Trump is what they were proposing in that Agenda 2025 was my understanding.
But to me,
They were
it's
saying,
like,
hey, you want to work here, you want to do this,
people-
we're looking for real conservatives.
right. And also how to do the job. If you're
Right.
a governor, what do you
Right.
do? Right. I
Right.
mean, one of the biggest things in the DEI and the difference between the parties, I don't care what people look like as long as they can do the job,
Right.
do the work. And that doesn't seem to be a requirement on the left.
So that's what Project 2025 was doing. Trump was not, my understanding, directly involved in that. And
Yeah.
it sounds like he doesn't even support it at this point. Doesn't know what it is, or if he does, doesn't support it. So what is his agenda? Agenda 47. So what is Agenda 47? Because I want to make sure that we get Harris's stuff in here as well.
Well, it's a prime number.
Okay. So it consists of a series of proposals that his campaign issued on its website during the primary election season from 22 to 23, December 22 to 23. many of which require congressional action, but some of which could be done through executive order. So it's a combination of both, separate from Project 2025 proposals developed by these third-party organizations.
Can
So-
I go back just briefly?
Go right ahead. Sure.
I'm going to go back, and President Trump is saying these are campaign promises?
Proposals.
Campaign proposals. I'm going to say that of all the presidents in my lifetime, President Trump was as close to anybody as doing what he said he was going to
Right.
do before he got in there. And that's where I was going with this.
Okay.
The
okay.
things he says he's going to do, he has done.
He has. So
Wait a
I think it's
second. That's not true.
What?
Ronald Reagan beat him hands down.
So I was too young to understand what Reagan was said he was
I
going to
think
do before
I
he
think we
got
would
in.
have to look at his
You gotta-
record and his proposals and see if he really did. Everybody loves Reagan because Reagan's gone. And I'm not saying I don't. I'm not saying either way. What I'm saying is I don't know that for a fact. You
Yep.
might know that for a fact.
And
I
ju-
do not.
I listen to Obama. Oh, you'll be able to take your 401ks without tax, without special tax, and get out. That was a lie. Every president has lied on major things.
And Trump, though I believe he did many of the things he said he would do, he did not accomplish all of them.
Correct.
And I think that you can just look at what he was up against and say, like any president, and I'm not making excuses for him, I'm saying every president faces that.
Well, right. And if you're like at a job and you achieve what you set out to do, your goal wasn't high enough. Right? I mean,
I agree. I agree.
And that's the way the world works. If you've
But people
accomplished,
don't understand that.
well, people don't understand a whole bunch of stuff. So
Okay, so let's talk about his agenda.
Okay,
Yeah.
just a second. Unfortunately, which gave politicians the impetus to do whatever they want, which they hate if you were a president that you do, is that the United States Supreme Court said it is okay for a politician to lie. So that gave them, hey, the sky's the limit. Say what you want because you can't be.
they get the same rights everyone else has.
Well, that's true. That's
Okay.
true.
Let's talk about the agenda. Agenda 47 includes, and I'm going to go through the topics first, and then maybe hit highlights of some of them. Education. He talks about education, including universities. Climate change. He is going to get out of the Paris Climate Accord again, which he did before, not a surprise. Justice Department, crime, immigration, and I think most of us know from the media, if nothing else, what he's planning with immigration. Economy, proposes cutting taxes, healthcare, requiring federal agencies to buy medicines and medical devices manufactured in the U.S. That's important. And barring federal agencies from other countries from purchasing essential drugs. Foreign policy and defense, Social Security. He's going to have no changes, no cuts to Social Security or Medicare. The quote being under any circumstances. Homelessness, I want to talk about that because I think it's an interesting proposal. Transgender rights, you can guess where he is on that. He's taking a hard stance against it. Big tech. So let's go back to the homelessness. Trump plans to work with states to ban public camping by homeless people and instead give them the choice of receiving treatment or being arrested.
Or how about deported?
Well, but the point is, if they're an immigrant, that's different. I'm talking about they're homeless, receive treatment, or be arrested, and calls for creating large tent cities where homeless people would be relocated, which would have doctors and social workers on site, along with expanding mental institutions. At least it's a logical proposal in my head.
Totally.
Right? I mean, it's something that nobody's proposed this. I don't think. I haven't heard it. At least it makes sense, right? They're saying, look, you either get help or you go to jail if you're not going to do what's required by law.
And
I mean, to me, that's just a simple, that's not harsh or mean or.
No, it's
any of
not.
those things.
You can't live on my front yard.
Right. Exactly.
You can't live on my front yard, so you have some choices, and here's what they are.
Yeah. I mean, we've got quite a number of homeless people walking by these days, and a lot of them are trying to walk in the door. And Not that we can't have homeless people in, but unfortunately, many of them have mental issues that don't lend themselves to having them walk in the door, right? I
Right.
mean, that's
Well, it's so right. I know some business owners, small business owners, who are working during the day, lock their doors so they don't even have the mailman come in and talk and delay
Right.
their day.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, so it's just interrupting of your flow of business.
Sure.
It's a time requirement.
Right. So on the economy, as I said, proposes cutting taxes. Foreign policy wants European allies to pay back the U.S. for depleting its military stockpiles, sending weapons to Ukraine. He has also taken a hardline stance on China, calling for new restrictions on Chinese-owned infrastructure. So those are just a few of Agenda 47. You can go online, you can look it up, you can see what's there. But I think that if we're going to elect somebody, we should know what they stand for, whether we like it or not. And if we don't like it, we don't vote for them.
So
in there lies the problem. Where's the news media with that?
Well, they're not here, and that's why we are. Let's just go there.
Well, what I did was I printed out this procon.org, and it has about 50 different topics, and it rated the people that it rated were Harris, Oliver, Stein, and Trump. And it rated the pro, no comment, no further information.
So what's the website address? Procon.com? Is that what it is?
Yes. Matter of fact, let me read. Procon is a non-profit organization, headquarters in Santa Monica. It operates Procon.org website, an official source for research on controversial issues. The contents of Procon.org is produced by 5 staff researchers, and its stated mission statement is promoting critical thinking, education, and inform the citizens by presenting controversial issues in a straightforward, nonpartisan, primary pro-con format.
Well, there's their picture.
They're the opposite of the Heritage Foundation.
All right.
Look where they
Hold
are.
on, look at this. This is their website. Okay, this is Procon. And what am I seeing? I'm seeing fruit. That's an interesting intro to the site. Reliable, nonpartisan, empowering. Maybe food is a nonpartisan issue, right?
Okay.
So there's election 2024, and here's kind of a sampling of what their website looks like. So
okay. Let me finish my thought with this, because it ranked about 50, maybe 60 different statements like corporate income tax, election day holiday, fracking, kids vaccination mandates, assault weapon bans. It went through 50 or 60 of these, and it rated them in those 4 type things. Okay, that's great. I'm glad they did that. But now when it comes to Kamala Harris, when did they rate her? Did they rate her what she says today, or did they rate her what her actions were?
I don't know.
See, so how legitimate is?
So
you'll have to dig into the site and start asking more questions.
So, but you're smart enough to know that none of it's legitimate, right? She wasn't elected. It is what it is. She was appointed by Democrats to win. And if she wins, we've let her do it. They deserve to be beaten soundly.
Well, I looked up on Harris and tried to find some kind of a proposal. What I did find is she has proposed a slew of, this is according to, I'm not seeing what the economy, I guess. I don't know. Harris has proposed a slew of economic policies. Here's a look at what's in them. And this is from Economy, August 16th, 2024. She set out with a string of new economic proposals focused on food prices, taxes, housing, and medical costs that she says will empower the middle class. So food prices. So again,
that's an oxymoron.
The question is, if these are your proposals, why are you not starting to do them right now? That's my first question.
Well, one of the things you said is her health care. She wants government-run health care. How is that going to help the middle class?
She wants to, well, let me tell you what she says. She wants to speed up a Biden administration effort that has allowed Medicare and other federal programs to negotiate with drug makers to lower the cost of prescription medications, which I believe Trump started that. Am I correct?
Is that for the migrant population or is that for citizens?
Aiming to cut the price tags of some of the most expensive and most commonly used drugs by roughly 40 to 80%, starting in 2026. Well, that doesn't help us. That doesn't help today, especially for older people who are suffering today. 2026 is a very long time away for them, right? If they're ill now, they need help now, not in 20. And she's here right now. It's not like she has to start over.
Well, and Biden,
if she wins, she can just start up the process and while she's vice president.
Biden and Harris wrote the biggest check and are still writing checks to the drug makers for COVID.
Well,
they wrote so many checks. Those folks should do anything they want for them.
She's also promised to promote competition with steps to increase transparency within pharmaceutical company pricing practices. Well, you know, what can I tell you about that? She's pledged to work with state entities to cancel $7 billion of medical debt for up to 3 million qualifying Americans. How does that help as a whole Americans? Because if you're canceling debt, it's costing us in taxes.
Yeah.
Or in
She's spending our money.
How does that help the middle class? It doesn't. Yes. She also proposed to make a $3,600 per child tax credit approved through 2025 for eligible families, while offering a new $6,000 tax credit for those with newborn children. Go have babies. She has and then abort them. I don't know. I'm confused.
So, right. I'm with you on that one.
She says a Harris administration would work to expand the earned income tax credit to cut taxes for some frontline workers up to $1,500 and reduce taxes on health care plans offered on the marketplace created by the Affordable Care Act. I thought it was affordable. What happened there?
It's unaffordable. And talk about all she does, and I heard this word, there's like word soup. She doesn't say any word salad.
Yes, word salad.
Where she just talks around.
Okay, so Steve has posted something. I can't get to it right now, but because I'm not on Facebook. But I can see that he's posted a link to something from Reuters with U.S. will still pay at least twice much after negotiating drug prices. So that's countering what we're talking about with the drug pricing. And so he says U.S. will still pay at least twice as much after negotiating drug prices. So the U.S. is just ridiculously over encumbered where it comes to our medical costs. Let's talk about housing with Harris because we don't have a whole lot of time left. I do want to get to question 3. Harris is calling for the construction of 3 million new housing units over 4 years, which she says will ease a serious housing shortage in America. And what I heard about this, and it was a conservative station, but they said, well, they've already promised a number of things similar to this that they aren't doing. They're in this administration that they're not fulfilling. So what makes us think that she's going to be able to do this? She also wants a $40 billion innovation fund, doubling a similar pot of money created by the Biden administration for businesses building affordable rental housing units. That doesn't help the American dream. Rental housing units does not help the American dream.
It only helps the contractors.
In California, they're giving away, $150,000 or something so that illegal aliens can buy a house to fulfill the American dream? Oh, I'm so sorry, but that's just so wrong. So I don't have any other proposals that I found that she's proposing. I wish we could do apples to apples with Agenda 47 and what Harris has proposed. That would be nice. And maybe before too long, we'll be able to. We'll see what we can find.
And surely there's folks who have lived around during rent control times. I actually lived in California and knew some folks that over at Venice Beach right there that were rent control, right? And it saved California all their problems, hadn't it? No. All the messing around with making it not market forces just makes things worse.
Well, and I agree. And I'm sorry, I'm going to digress over to question 3 in Nevada. So if you're not from Nevada, this won't relate to you, but it might relate to you.
No.
Yes, no. It might relate to you in another state if you're facing ranked choice voting. It may not be exactly the same, but the same people are probably behind it. So you might want to listen for that reason. So this November, this is from the Daily Indie, okay? Surprisingly quite informative and possibly accurate. How about that? Is that surprising? Possibly accurate. I don't know. I haven't checked all the facts.
Is that in Indianapolis?
Is that an oxymoron?
Is that an Indianapolis paper?
No.
Oh.
No, independent.
Oh.
Daily Indie.
The Indie.
Yeah. Okay, so they explain question 3 would see ranked choice voting open primaries in Nevada. Voters this November will have an opportunity to vote on a ballot measure that would fundamentally change Nevada's election. And if you read my post, you'll see that I talked about that they are going to do what they call, I believe it was like a lot. So picking, drawing straws.
It's the same as their
lot.
Naming, right? It's the same as the opposites.
Right.
This is an
All these
oxymoron that needs
yes.
to be scratched out.
So if passed, the primary elections in the state would open up to all voters, regardless of party registration, starting in 2026, with the top 5 vote getters, regardless of their political party, advancing to the general election. So in the primary, you only vote for 1, though. You don't vote for 5. You vote for 1. Nevada currently operates under a closed primary. I'm not going to go through all of that. I think anybody who's here knows that, right? At the general election, voters would rank candidates by order of preference. Voters could mark as many as 5 preferences. And it's not that they could, they better. Because if they don't, your ballot gets exhausted. And if you don't have one of the ones on there that moved to the next level, your vote goes away.
One vote, one candidate, no on 3, no on 3.
Okay, under the system, any candidate who receives a majority of votes, more than 50%, would be declared the winner. Well, fair enough. If no candidate wins a majority, however, the candidate with the fewest first preference votes would be eliminated. So number 5 goes away, and their votes would be redistributed. Does that sound familiar?
That's
Obama.
hockey.
To the candidates listed as voters' second preference. Does that make sense?
No.
The shuffling and vote reallocation process would continue until one candidate reaches a majority.
Why don't they just call it a lottery?
Yep. Nevada law dictates the ballot order. If question 3 passes, the Nevada ballot would list the ticket as president, unranked and by party, federal and state partisan races, ranked, local government races, unranked and by party, and nonpartisan, unranked. On a given ballot, a voter would switch between the traditional and ranked choice voting methods. How confusing would you like to be? Let me just show you more. So the ballot question is formally known as the Better Voting Nevada Initiative, oxymoron. Okay.
Always the name opposite.
Yep. Look
is
at the
true.
name.
Opposite is true.
Yep. Political Action Committee filed the initiative seeking a constitutional amendment, which means it has to be passed twice. The first time it passed by 53%. This time, let's hope it is
Come on,
rejected.
folks. We're smarter than
more.
this. Quit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they tell us what other states have done, and you can go to the Daily Indie and read all of that. But I want to get to, because I am going to run out of time if I don't get there. Under question 3, this is the arguments in favor. Then they have the arguments against. But there's a part in here where they talk about who's for and who's against. And that's kind of what I really wanted to tell you about. Okay, so here we go. Sandra Cosgrove, a professor at the College of Southern Nevada who has advocated for the measure as a volunteer, told the Nevada Independent that voters are tired of political parties controlling elections and have sharply, So that's what it is. The Nevada Independent, that voters are tired of political parties controlling election have sharply criticized the proposal as confusing for voters. So here's somebody who's criticized the parties, saying this is not a good thing. Confusing for voters, warning the process could lead to errors that cause eligible votes to be thrown out. In other words, you don't vote for 5, you're going to get thrown out. Other top officials who opposed the proposal include Representative Mark Amodei, Senate Majority Leader Nicole Cannizzaro, Democrat from Las Vegas, and Speaker Steve Yeager, Democrat from Las Vegas. The Nevada GOP and Nevada Democratic Party also oppose the ballot measure. Everybody's opposing the ballot measure, right?
Janice,
yes.
you hit the nail on the head with your sentence that you said, we're tired of a political party controlling things. So what they're saying is we want to get rid of the political party that has the power. The way to do that is at the ballot box,
right?
Not through
this
smoke
way.
and mirrors.
Right. Nevada Policy Research Institute, a conservative policy research organization, has also opposed the measure, publishing an opinion piece last year arguing ranked choice voting leads to delays in ballot tabulation, which it does. In Alaska, I think it's taken as much as a month to tally a small race, among other issues. Alongside elected officials, several nonpartisan and left-leaning groups have opposed the initiative. The Let Nevadans Vote Coalition, which includes representatives from more than 20 groups, including Silver State Voices and the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada, has denounced the measure and argued that the system could lead to confusion about how to vote and how votes will be tabulated for those who are casting a ballot for the first time or who do not speak English as their first language. The Nevada State AFL-CIO also declared opposition to the initiative. Listen to the people that are opposing this.
The unions, all the people that are talking.
So who wants it, right?
Well,
why is it on the ballot at all? We're all opposing it.
You have come up with a way, but with this initiative, to thwart what the public wants.
Well, they have. So here we go. Major contributors include Kenneth Griffin, $3 million. Action Now, $3 million. Catherine Murdoch, a New York-based political activist and daughter-in-law of billionaire Rupert Murdoch. John Sobrato, $1 million, a California-based billionaire real estate developer. So you got all these folks that have nothing to do with Nevada.
Not even that many, like 5 or 10 people trying to dictate politics to us folks.
Right. So the reason I'm so focused on question 3, it would destroy our voting. I mean, you just heard me talk about that this race would be traditional, this one would be ranked, this one would be traditional. We're going to have people throwing up their hands and saying, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. Because, I mean, it's hard enough to know who to vote for when you have a limited number of candidates on the ballot. You got to investigate them. You got to figure it out. If you have 5 in all these different races, my Lord, there's no way. I mean, I'm interested in all of this. I don't know that I'd have the time to research all of that.
Well, right.
I mean, and it requires research. It requires, what does this person believe? I mean, how do you rank them if you don't know what they believe? Now it's just drawing straws. That's really what it is.
Well, I might have a shot now.
There you go. You can go and they get to pick what political party they want to be when they go list themselves on the ballot, right? I mean, this is craziness, folks. This is craziness.
They're
Please just vote no on 3 in Nevada. Please, please, please.
They're thwarting.
And look for yourself. If you go to my Substack, hermson.substack.com, I've got a link on there in today's post. And if you go to past posts, you'll see other links where you can research about ranked choice voting. If you don't believe me, then check it out yourself and see what you think. And I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to know what you think. And if you disagree, I want to know why, because it just seems to me that this is a crazy initiative to even have on there. And obviously it's not really by the people that this came in. This came in from out of state money. So we got to stop this. We got to take control.
Yeah, people trying to buy us because we're small folks, pay attention for that, right? It's ridiculous. We don't want to be hijacked by folks with money.
Nope, we don't. And that's what's happening, unfortunately. My goodness, I had to race to get through that.
We're way smarter than that, Nevada. Way smarter than that.
We are.
Just give it 5 minutes. Take a look.
Yes. So I am so glad that you could be with us, and I appreciate your support. I appreciate that you tune in and listen, even if it's just for a little while. We feel like we have some good things to tell you, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, listen to Ed. He had 2 weeks worth of stuff.
That's
backed
right.
up.
We didn't even get to hear about his
I
week.
know.
2
I was here
weeks.
2 weeks of
I
brain
know.
dead. It was awesome.
Yeah, we didn't even get to hear. But we only have about 30 seconds left. I want to thank everybody for being with us. And we are going to have a new link. With that new link, we'll be back for our second hour in just a few minutes. So please hang in there, and hopefully you'll be able to find us and come back and listen again. Thanks so much. And this is What's the Story? Janice Hermson, Ed Knoll, Doug Ashby. We will be right back. Thanks so much, folks.